We're here at John Newberry Elementary School as part of the Mariners Community Cares Tour as they're making a stop here in the Wenatchee Valley. And you recognize this guy, Rick Rizzs, longtime broadcaster for the Seattle Mariners. Thanks for taking the time.
Eric, thank you for inviting us. It's a lot of fun. We just started our 2020 Mariners Caravan Community Tour. We were in Yakima all day yesterday and having a great time here in Wenatchee, visiting with the kids and starting to talk a little baseball right now. Even the weather's a little bit chilly, although today's not too bad. But spring training is right around the corner, so we're excited.
Let's talk about this off season and all the changes, and it's kind of the everything's new. For me as a true baseball fan, I'm really excited about it. But for a lot of Mariner fans, it's like, who are these guys?
Yeah, exactly. Jerry DiPoto was really busy a couple of years ago. He had to really ask himself a very difficult question. You know, are we at a point right now where we can beat the Houston Astros? And they were just, one of the best teams in all of baseball. So he went out and traded a lot of the veteran guys and really loaded up the farm system with some great young talent. And they're on their way. This year we had 23 young players make the All-Star team down at A-ball and AA ball and AAA ball. He traded for kids that were ready to play. J.P. Crawford came over from the Philadelphia Phillies in that trade for Gene Segura. He really had a great year last year. So we saw a number of kids this year like J.P. Crawford and Shed Long and Justice Sheffield came up and Justin Dunn. We saw at the end of the year Kyle Lewis. This kid was remarkable, amazing. And also Jake Fraley and many others. But there's a lot more on the way. Jerry DiPoto took us from just a year ago, the 29th worst farm system in all of baseball, to the 10th or 11th best in the major leagues. So the talent is now there. They're on their way. There is just a flood of great young players on the way to Seattle. Kyle Lewis, like I said, showed up at the end of last year, and there's Cal Raleigh, a catcher. We're going to see Jared Kelnick, one of the top young players in all of minor league baseball, and Julio Rodriguez. And as I said, Justice Sheffield, Justin Dunn, Evan White has already signed a 6-year major league contract. That's what the Mariners think of this kid. So I'm excited about the future. Once these kids get here, they're going to figure out how to, be successful at the big league level, and we're going to be good for a long time.
35 years you've been involved in the Mariners broadcast now. And first of all, thank you for all the work you've done. I'm in this business because this guy and his old buddy Dave Niehaus. How do you have the energy? I mean, is it because of this youth movement that really gets you jacked up once again?
Well, Eric, I think it goes back to when I was a kid. I just loved the game of baseball. Somebody said a long time ago, wrote it, do what you love what you do. And I fell in love with the game of baseball, playing baseball in the Sandlot behind my house. Did you ever see the movie Sandlot? Yeah. That's a story of my life, including the dog. Remember in the movie it was Hercules? Well, in third base side in the backyard of the Lerner's house was Mo, the German Shepherd. When the ball went in his backyard, we only had one ball. My job was, the fastest kid was to go get the ball, throw it back onto the Sandlot, and jump over the fence and keep playing. But I love the game of baseball. It's still so much fun to prepare for a game and go out to a ballpark. I'm blessed. I'm living my dream since I was 12 years old. I wanted to do this. And these kids keep me young, especially right now. We've got so many good young players, and they're so excited. And it's always fun and exciting to see these kids get to the major leagues and see with their eyes wide open what it's like to finally put on a big league uniform. Only 5% of the guys who are signed as high school players and as college players even make it. And to see these kids come here and have success, it's really fulfilling for us. And the fans here in the Northwest are really going to love what they see from this crop of good young talent that Jerry DiPoto has put together.
We had the opportunity here in Wenatchee through summer collegiate baseball, the Wenatchee Apple Sox here locally, to see Marco Gonzalez for a summer here. And, of course, he's gone on to such great things. Talk about these two kids that you have with you here today in Wenatchee and Austin Nola and Matt Festa.
Yeah, we're starting the caravan when we bring our kids all around the state of Washington. We've been doing this for about 34, 35, 36 years. We have Austin Nola, who's a great story. His younger brother, Aaron, is a pretty good pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies and has been over the last 4 or 5 years in the National League. This kid really, talk about perseverance and not giving up. He spent 8 years in the Miami Marlins organization, was a shortstop out of LSU. That didn't work out. And there was a coach that got to him and said, are you going to make it to the big leagues as a shortstop? You can't really hit, can't drive your own runs, can't steal bases. Why don't you become a catcher? He said, no, I don't want to catch. But he took his advice. And he made one heck of a change, changing positions from a shortstop to a catcher, and it really paid off. And I love stories like that. He's a great kid, hard worker, and he had a heck of a year for us. You know, his first year away from the Marlins organization with us, he did a great job at Tacoma, was called up to the big leagues in July, and on Father's Day, first time up, got a base hit for his dad, and just continued to play very well and played most of the time at first base. But he could also catch. So we have Austin Nola with us. We also have a young pitcher by the name of Matt Festa, who was a 7th-round draft pick out of East Stroudsburg State University in Pennsylvania. If you're good, we'll find you. You know, scouts will find you. He grew up in Staten Island or in New York, and you know, this kid really came up, and he made his major league debut a couple of years ago against Nolan Arenado and the Rockies in Colorado. He appeared in about 20 games last year, a reliever, and he's going to be a good one for a long time. So we get a chance to bring our kids all around the state of Washington and visit with the fans and have a good time. But they're outstanding.
How important is this for you to kind of to spread not just the Mariner message, but the baseball message to the youth, like here at this elementary school today?
It's so important because, you know, we've got our young players a chance to reach out to the young, you know, fans. Baseball is a generational thing. It's handed down from great-grandparents to the grandparents to the father to the son and to the grandkids, and that's what we need to do, to instill that joy and the love of the game of baseball. So it's so important to reach these kids. I love it when I hear about the success of kids playing Little League Baseball, just to go out there and have fun. Find out what it's like to put on a uniform and go out there and play baseball with your buddies and enjoy the greatest game in the world, still in my mind the national pastime and always will be. But it's very important to reach these kids, for fathers to instill that joy and that love of baseball, like my dad did. You know, for me, if it wasn't for my dad, you know, I wouldn't be here. I watched the games growing up in Chicago on television and on radio, and I remember hearing Jack Brickhouse's voice and the other announcers, the White Sox and Cubs announcers, coming out of the radio. And at 12 years old, I wrote him a letter, and I said, I want to be a broadcaster just like you, and he wrote me back a letter. Because of that little letter that he wrote me, that time that he took, you know, here I am broadcasting Major League Baseball for 30-something years, 37 years, 8 years in the minor leagues, 45 years. So it's so important to come here, visit with the kids, for them to meet our players and fall in love with the game of baseball.
Well, thank you for all you've done over the years and bringing the Mariners into our pickup trucks and homes and everywhere else.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Eric. It's great to be here.
Rick Rizzs joining us here at John Newberry Elementary School on the NCWLIFE channel.